Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Member Ojwang, Member Cho are both absent. Member Fain?
Here.
Member Lindsay? Here. Member Martinez-Moore is absent. Member Oji?
Here.
And Chair Trinkle.
Here. Okay, and now I'll read the land acknowledgement. The City of Albany recognizes that we occupy the land originally protected by the Confederated Villages of Lejeune. We acknowledge the genocide that took place on these lands and must make strides to repay the moral debt that is owed to this indigenous people, specifically the Ohlone tribe. We thank them for their contributions which have transformed our community and will continue to bring forth growth and unity. The City of Albany commits to sustaining ongoing relationships with the tribe and together build a better future for all that now make this their home. Okay. And then we have approval of minutes from March 5th.
I didn't see any problems in it. Anybody else? You want to make a motion?
Motion to approve. My second.
Approve the minutes, and you're seconding?
Seconding.
Member Fain?
Yes.
Member Lindsay?
Yes.
Member Oji?
Yes.
And Chair Trinkle.
Yes.
And members Ojwang, Cho, and Martinez-Moore are absent. Motion carries.
Okay. Is there any public comment?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody just put their hand up.
Okay.
No.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
This is Signe Matson. I'm just wanting to thank you all for getting the city council to give some money to the Giltrap Farm and the Albany school teachers to develop curriculum, at least now for the elementary grades. So thank you all. Appreciate you. That's it.
Okay.
That's it for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on to announcements from staff and commission member. Does anyone have any announcements? No? Okay. Now, item 5, which is presentations. And we have a presentation from Exceptional Sports by member Oji.
Awesome. I'll share my screen. Okay, so I'm excited to tell you guys a little bit about our Exceptional Sports program, also known as eSports. And it started in year 2000, and it started with two friends. A kid, one of the guys, he had two sons with special needs, and his friend loved soccer. So they put the sons in a regular program, and it just didn't work. So they were like, hey, we're going to start something on our own. And that's how we got this. So the E stands for exceptional, and it implies education because it teaches inclusion. And it's kids, all kids together, whether you have special needs or anything like that. It's everyone all together, and it's about developing the friendships, and there's so many more things that are wrapped up into this program that make it special. The magic. So for the kids with special needs, they get to build friendships through inclusion. We get to, in our program, we like reshape and reframe what makes a sports program successful for kids. Usually you go out, you win, and that's it, right? But there's a lot more intangibles to playing on any team, actually. You learn skills like teamwork, you learn how to like navigate friendships, those things you don't learn. There's certain things you only learn on teams. So kids with special needs actually get a chance to learn these things because they're with their typical peers and they don't usually interact with them. So it's really becomes a deficit for them. And I've been a part of this program since 2004, and I love it. The magic for the typical kids is that they get to develop character and leadership. It's the intangibles, like they learn about empathy, which you can't necessarily teach that at school. They learn compassion, they learn selflessness, they learn leadership in a way that no other program provides, because it's not just the typical kids coaching or teaching the kids with special needs. The kids with special needs are also teaching the typical kids. Like, I was just with this one little kid, and he has autism, and he's really great. He's super smart, and he knows he has autism. He also knows that because he has autism, people cut him a lot of slack. So he gets away with, like, murder, but we're friends. So I was like, dude, stop. Like, he's making this person, like, run. I was like, stop. And he just looks at me, and he smiles and starts laughing. But you get to, a lot of times kids with special needs are like, it's just assumed that they don't get it or they're not capable, but that is not true at all. So the kids get to learn that. So the basics of the program, there's many programs actually, but we try to keep the groups small. At most, if it's like basketball, then it's about 10 kids or so. And then we try to make sure it's a mixed group with kids with special needs, depending on the need. So, we've had kids that were blind. We've had a lot of kids with autism or ADHD, physical needs, different things like that. We try to make sure they're mixed because technically right now all you see is there's the special education program over there in schools or the special education sports, whatever, which isn't very much, and then everybody else. So we try to really make sure they're mixed. And then there's a head coach and there's a helper in each group, and then there are assistants that help if a child needs help. So the goal is from beginning of the season to the end of the season, hopefully you can scaffold enough so that the kid that started off needing a bunch of help would need less help, because it helps them everywhere. And what's great about this program is it's free because it's run by volunteers. So it doesn't cost much of anything. The only thing we ever pay for is renting the location. And oftentimes we get those funds through donations that people can make if they want to make, but they aren't required. And it's just a lot of fun. I've been a coach before. I've helped start several of these programs in different places. And because of my background as a teacher, I know how to train people to work with kids appropriately. And it's really cool. I like this program a lot for high schools and middle schools because, one, it looks good on their transcripts, on their, going to college. It looks really great. But also, you just learn things you don't learn. I just had a student from a long time ago. They actually wrote about this program in their essay to get into college, just about how it's so different when they went to like their high school. They're like, everybody is just separate, no one cared. But they're like, oh, it's people care here. We have a lot of capacities with it. We have physical therapists, occupational therapists, typical families. There's a lot of on-site things to help with registration, communication, and then there are just families out there that want to be friends. A lot of times with kids with special needs with their families, they do not get breaks. So they don't get to do normal things that another parent who has a typical kid can do, like, I'm gonna go over here while my kid's over there. They're watching, they have to, like, what's gonna happen with my kid? So they get to hang out with other adults and actually have a break and trust that my kid's gonna be taken care of, no one's gonna like be mean to them, and they're gonna be happy, and it's really, really great. So the impact is that this program started in 2000 and now it's all over. I'll show you just a second the different ways that it's impacted the Bay Area, but even outside the Bay Area. We've been a part of the earthquakes, the San Jose earthquakes. We work with them regularly. We just actually did the Warriors, last month, I think we were there. They did a halftime show, and then we did another session with them. This past Saturday, we were just at Cal Berkeley for eFootball. We have a partnership with the University of San Francisco. One was started in the Philippines. I helped start one in Kenya, India, and Las Vegas, along with the San Francisco, the college over there. It's gotten a Congressional Citation Award. Like, it's making headway because it's a program that is like no other. Currently, we have these different locations around the Bay Area, some on the east, some on the west: Antioch, Sunnyvale, Fairfield, Foster City, San Leandro, Redwood City, San Jose, Hercules, St. Mary's College, USF, Walnut Creek, Dublin, Hayward, Foster City, Oakland, and San Francisco, and hopefully Albany, because there's nothing in between right now. I go to Hercules to volunteer, or I go to Oakland to volunteer at another one that we have. But there's so many things we do. We do e-gardening, e-football, e-hoops, e-soccer, e-dance, e-theater, e-gaming. Basically, if you want to do it and there's a need, we create the programs. So that's it.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. I'm wondering how this program works. Is it like a summer camp? Is it an after school thing?
Got it. That would be a very helpful thing. So usually it's on Saturday afternoons or mornings, and it usually runs 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Basically, it's run by whoever lives in the community. So I live here. If I wanted to start one, I would go, hey, I have from June to August. All right, I'm going to make this program, and it's going to go for this amount of weeks. But most of all of these programs run on Saturday mornings.
And so where does it take place?
Oh, different places. So we do it in Hercules, and it's usually 11 to 12 at the Hercules Community Center, and that one is e-hoops. So the coaches come at 10. At the beginning of the season, we do a training to teach people how to work with the kids. And then the kids come from 11 to 12 and go for 6 weeks or so. And then at the end, we do they get, little awards, and they have a potluck, and it's just a really great time. But it's different for each group. I did e-dance, and that was during the pandemic, so it was virtual. And then they do it in San Leandro. They've actually also done the Warriors as well alongside the e-hoops. So it's by location and by activity. Good?
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be really cool if we had one here. We have lots of people that would help out.
I have some questions. So you have no staff, it's all volunteer?
All volunteer.
And the ages range from what to what?
6 years old up till 18.
Okay.
And then some of our participants, they've aged out, but because they've been in the program, they actually become coaches.
Right. Always really nice. And do you have any funding besides parents and?
Well, it's a whole organization. The first slide I showed was the website. Sometimes they'll like help you start off with getting your location. And then everything else, it really is like donations. So, and it's not hard to start. So
But I mean, any cities donating or any foundations donating or anything like that?
different ones that we work with, different ones have helped, yes.
Okay.
But it's not something that we go, hey, give us money. It's just really is like, if you would like to support it, and
Right.
very much a donation-run program, which makes it cool.
What about equipment and uniforms besides fields?
How do we pay for it?
Yeah,
Donations.
okay. What kind of numbers do you have, like in Hercules or something? You have an e-dance program, I think you said, or?
And e-hoops. Like, for example, we just joined the KALB for e-football, and they do like this Golden Buddies thing once a year. So this is our second year with them. There were like over 100 kids. And then for our e-hoops program in Hercules, there's about 40 to 60 kids in that program. Because of the space, like we cannot, it's a gym, so you can only have so many kids.
Wait, you have one gym for 1 hour and 40 to 60 kids?
Yeah, depending on, because they don't have to pay, so it's not like they're like, I will be here every single thing. So sometimes it's like, oh, today's there's 20 kids, and today's there's like 40 kids.
Oh, I see, okay.
So, but yeah, you can have anywhere between that. But I think it's an average of like 30 kids, but it just depends on the space. Like if it's a soccer field, all you need are the volunteers, and tons of kids can come.
Right.
So,
That's my sport, so.
Me too.
But, yeah. But, so, do they play, so for the games that are traditionally competitive, soccer, basketball, things like that, do they play a game at the end, or?
they do scrimmages, and it's depending on the group of kids and their abilities. And yeah, just a like skill, like, cause it's a tailored program. So you have to see like what kind of skills these kids have and then bring them forward. And yeah, they do scrimmages and
So
stuff.
they do scrimmages and they pass out pennies and try to get the teams kind of even and.
Uh-huh,
Right,
yeah.
Right, okay.
And some of them go and like, if they're, skilled enough, they can actually go to their team, like their school team. Like we had a girl who really loved basketball and really wanted to play, and she was going into high school, and they let her be on the team. Like, I don't know, like, the full capacity of what she got to do, but that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
But she had the confidence, and she got to practice, which she wouldn't normally get to do in a group. So she's very cool.
Oh, I've been around the youth sports world for a long time, and I hadn't heard of the group. It sounds really wonderful.
It is, and it's free. That works with the budget for the city of Albany.
You got to get the field space, right?
Yeah, that's not hard, though. I play at Gilman and play soccer there. It's not really hard to rent a field.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of the buy-in, that's all. We have volunteers, like Cal Berkeley students, and just other local people that are trained and ready to do it.
So what would it take to get one going in Albany?
Probably just putting out an interest form of like which activity will we like to do, and then renting a location and getting out there with the supplies. And we do a training for the coaches ahead of time, just so that they could feel comfortable working with the kids. So it doesn't take that long. If I really wanted to start one, I could probably get it up and running in a few weeks. I'm kind of busy, but I'll give it a few weeks.
Right.
It's that easy. It's not hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wish you presented earlier, because I feel like that could have been one of our
Oh, I know, huh?
games. Like,
You do it next time.
yeah.
It's always next year.
Yes, we'll still be here.
Right.
I have a question. So it's like it's a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
So it like operates with like a central, like, I don't know, board or something, I don't know. And then there's like volunteers who create different.
Uh-huh. Basically, so like the program in the Philippines, there was someone that was a part of like the e-soccer one here, but they have family in the Philippines and they love the program. When they went to the Philippines, they started the program in the Philippines. And then the e-dance, a family, they love dancing and they thought, we don't have a program like this yet. So we're going to create it. So they run it, like they're the coordinators for our e-dance program. And we have it San Leandro, and I think it's, I don't know, San Mateo, Foster City, I think. But it's basically like if you said, I really want this, on our website, it just says, hey, connect with so-and-so. I spoke with the woman probably a year ago now, but she wanted to start e-track, which I was like, yes, I ran track. Let's do it. But still in the works. But yeah, we want to start e-gardening. Someone is working on that in Richmond, but nothing in Albany.
I mean, I would think that the special ed teachers would be a good spot to go to, right? Because all the kids are in, and once you had a chunk of them, then you could spread the word, right? What seems really unique about this is the mixture of typical kids and special needs kids. That's pretty unusual, actually, depending on the level of special needs. Even in classes, when there's a special need kids, you kind of try to hide it from the rest of the kids, but if they figure it out, then it's harder on the kid. It just is. Even if they're nice kids, they have that stuck in their head, you know? So it's, yeah.
So it makes it a great program.
Yeah.
And also, and sorry, another question, and you are like, what in this organization?
Me, I help coordinate some of the programs. So our friends actually run one in Hercules, but because I've helped start several of them, I just know how everything goes. So I can go, hey, we need 7 people over here. We need this. We're gonna have to do, like, I can do it. So I'm like a coordinator, I guess, over here. Yeah.
But there is a board of directors, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so your job title is Chief Make Programs Happen?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, on the side, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, great, thank you.
Only thanks.
Okay, now we move on to item 6. Item 6.1, which is review the Racial Inclusivity and Social Equity Commission work plan and identify possible work plan updates. I need to look at my notes. Oh yeah. So we wanted to get rid of the equity survey subcommittee. Wait. Hold on. I'm really confused right now.
Maybe we could get a list on screen of what our current work plan says. We did, sorry. And we did vote last meeting that we were going to dissolve
Yeah.
that one.
Sorry, I wrote that we did, not that we should do. I just misread it.
Well, we dissolved the subcommittee.
We just gotta get rid of the item, right?
So what we need to do is we need to decide what we want to do, what we want our basically new work plan to be, and then we submit that to council and say, and for their approval. And they probably would do it before the next meeting. Then we could actually start working on stuff the next meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I know we wanted to get rid of the housing element, right?
Because,
They made a new committee for housing.
right.
So how do we go about changing it?
Could make a copy of it and we could work on it. Can you do that? Can you make a copy of it and then we can edit it together?
So the commission can designate someone to make edits to the work plan. I can't make changes here, though.
Right, you can't change that one, but you could open up a Word doc and,
No,
I think
No,
what
I
he
can't.
means, like, I can, so you can designate somebody here to do it. I'm happy to do it. If
Okay, great.
Yeah.
But then can we see what you have?
working on as we go.
I can't alter an active document during the,
No, oh,
oh, you want to connect her? No, I can't connect her to the
okay,
projector.
all right. So anyway, there's 6 bullet points there. Are we saying,
Do I have to vote to designate or?
To draft, no. I mean, eventually you'll vote
No, like
someone.
to designate someone to do the, yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
But can you send me the Word doc? Do you have a Word doc? I was just looking through my emails and I don't.
Give me 1 second. Unfortunately, this isn't my usual workstation, so I don't have access to the same stuff. I can't send you a Word document right now. Sorry.
I'll just take note
okay.
and then I'll send it. I'll circulate.
So for a process, what you're proposing is just to run through these first and see what we want to keep and what we want to toss? Is that what you're proposing as a process, or?
I mean, I feel like that would be, we can like go through and, yeah, we can do that. And then after we do that, we can like consider things to add.
Okay.
Okay, well, so if we finish something, we could remove it, right? Yeah, so then we can remove the first one. And then,
So we should check in with other people and see if everybody agrees.
yeah, okay. Does everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's in process, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it also says like, provide recommendation regarding identified in the final report. So we still need, do we still need to do anything with that? though?
And provide recommendations to city council regarding inside identity. Yeah, it's true. So we probably should keep that one.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do until they give us a report back, though.
Okay.
Did they do it already?
So
Did they do the survey?
it's in process. I got, they're soliciting, they sent people emails for the survey, and then it's posted on like their regular weekly. So that they're trying to get people to reply. Yeah, they're working on it.
Real quick, before you get too deep in this, you may want to keep notes on what's been accomplished with each item, because at the end of the year, you will need to do a status report accounting for all these previous work plan items as well as current ones at the time.
I'll include that in my notes and then I'll send it to you.
Thanks.
So on the first one, we did work with the city, but right now there's nothing to do, right? I guess would be the notes. We worked with the city to help them with questions and other things. With the company that's doing it, we met with them. We talked to a staff. They included us. Yeah. And I think they're going to come to us when they have results.
Yeah, I think that's what they said.
Yep.
Do we know, like, I know they're like, it's in process of people filling it out, right? But like, where are they putting it? Because I haven't seen it anywhere.
Yeah, where is it?
Okay. I got an email, but a lot of people don't respond to emails, or, it goes right to their junk or something. And then there was, I think, in the city's regular newsletter, John, you know if it was in there? Because I thought it was there.
It was.
Yeah. So the city sends out a regular newsletter, but people have to sign up to get that.
I got it. Where is it in the newsletter?
Maybe they didn't put it in each week. If not, we should ask them to do that.
I'm gonna look for it.
Okay. And hopefully they're doing other things besides just those two things. I mean, email and a newsletter you have to sign up for is not really going to include a whole lot of people.
They also tabled the Community Expo.
Okay.
So that one stays on until we can do the recommendations, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Or insights for the city council.
Yeah, insights, yeah.
Right?
Okay, so the next one that's on the list is the providing recommendations with other advisory bodies for the housing element. What does everyone else think? I think we should get rid of it because they have made another commission. So, what does everyone else think?
I agree.
I agree.
Okay. Move housing. And then we have the providing annual recommendation to the council for the sugar sweetened beverage tax, which we did last meeting.
Yes.
So would that be like, should we remove it?
We probably keep that one
Okay.
because it's a recurring and it's a mandatory item.
Okay, yeah.
But for status, we can say that we accomplished that goal, right? We did make recommendations, so.
Okay. Okay, and then we have provide a draft recommendation of a city equity statement.
Did we do that?
I don't even remember what.
I think we,
That was member, sorry,
yeah.
isn't that member Cho and member Rios who were working on that?
Yeah,
Yeah. I think last meeting, did we get rid of the equity statement subcommittee?
we got rid of the subcommittee, and I think the city may have an equity statement, but I'm not sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I remember now, because we had talked about with the city needs to draft.
Yeah.
it, But then that could be something that the racial equity officer would take care of, rather than us to draft it and present it to the city council. It might be best placed for somebody who has, just like understands the D&I perspective better as a professional.
Yeah, I think I remember this now. So, we did write a draft recommendation that they asked this officer to do it. So we did do that.
Wait, what?
Wait, no.
We did not draft a,
No, we didn't.
Didn't we make a recommendation to council to ask them to make the officer?
Yes.
They get one to write it. So then,
I don't know that the recommendation included saying that they would do the city equity statement. I think that what my memory is that was not, we didn't specify down to that level of detail, but I could be wrong. I've got old person memory stuff, but no, but seriously, I think we just said that we don't think it's something that makes sense for this commission to do, but it would make sense for a professional to do. Not that we specifically put it in there, we just basically punted it. That's my memory. I'd be okay if everybody else wants to drop it. I wouldn't, I do think that a subcommittee of 2 or 3 people could work on that and might be able to get something that would be useful for the city council. If the problem is if they don't do the racial equity officer and there is a budget shortfall this year, if they don't do the racial equity officer, then we sit without a city equity statement again. There may be something under DEI if you could, if somebody,
Find that survey.
is it?
I can't find that survey.
The survey, okay. But on the racial equity, city equity statement? I think the city has a DEI statement of some sort. I just remember reading it, but I don't remember the details. Jonathan, do you know?
Bring it up.
Okay. Let's-
It's the equity plan. Sorry, I'm totally blanking.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the plan because that was the official, well, actually, if you go to Equity Impact Plan, there's the written plan, but there's this stuff in addition. Sanctuary City. Racial Equity Impact Plan is that one up there, but it's not in there. It's in there that it recommends that we do it.
What are we looking for exactly?
We're looking for if the city does have an equity statement, because I thought it had something. But I'm not seeing it, that's obvious.
What do we need it for again?
It was recommended in the Racial Equity Impact Plan that happened out of the George Floyd murders and protests. And there was a company hired.
Yes.
And one of their recommendations was that the city should have an equity statement.
Okay.
And that's where we got this from. I don't see it. There might be one of some sort, but I don't see one.
Where is this survey? I really want to know where.
Okay, you want to jump back to the survey? Is the survey somewhere on the city? Can people get to it via the city website?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Kind
So.
of important, right? And it's supposed to go to people of color,
Yep.
right?
Inclusion.
Yes. So maybe they could, before the school year ends, send it to all of the parent support groups
Okay.
to get it out that way, because I actually read that newsletter. I'm signed up for it,
Yeah,
and I haven't seen anything.
okay.
Can I say something about? Okay, so just to add on to the survey question, Jonathan, do you know if the emails that come to the Rice Commission go to everybody, or do they go to everybody?
Yes, you're talking about rise at albanyca.org?
The RISEC at Albany. But then, okay, so I got this email, and if it's going to everybody, then maybe everybody saw this.
Yeah, I
where
think
the
I know
person-
what you're talking about.
Yeah, the person was saying that there was an issue with the survey in terms of like being able to fill it out. So is that something that the people who are working on that subcommission to go back to them about and just say, hey, we had somebody write in and say they were having an issue with the survey?
Yes.
Staff could speak with them. There's no longer the equity survey subcommission, though, or subcommittee.
Right.
We got rid of
Yeah.
that.
Oh, sorry.
But any of us could send an email or make a phone call and point these things out. Like, I've been taking notes. A lot of people are saying they haven't seen it. So far, we know the only things that we know they've done has been email, the Albany newsletter, and now we know they did at least that one event.
Community Expo.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem to be easily findable via the website. And there's a suggestion that the parent support group should get it. Yeah.
The thing is that if like, there's actually like a problem with like the survey as a whole, and that's the only that's the only person that like sent us an email. The thing is, I'm worried that like, if it's, then that means no one has done it, right?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know how many people have filled it out. It's in our work plan. We don't have a subcommittee. It's not on our agenda. On our agenda is just work on the work plan and then the subcommittee updates from the read-along program. But, but I will, unless somebody else volunteers, I will pursue this with staff.
Go for it.
Okay. Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
I feel like we talked about this, like, one of a meeting or something, but like, didn't we talk about sending like the survey up to high school students?
Okay,
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm just really wondering where it is. I
Yeah.
typed in racial equity survey, and
I
it's,
mean, I didn't even know it was like started yet.
I have to say that because it's not on the agenda, we can't really discuss it.
Really? Oh.
No, it's not on the agenda. We didn't notify the public that we were going to discuss this item.
even though it's on the work plan.
No, because what we're discussing is the work plan itself, not specific items. So, I mean, it's not on purpose, nobody's going to arrest us, but, you know, it's just, but what I would say is, why don't people just email me, and I'll gather it all together, and I'll see if I can get hold of staff on it. So like the thing about high school students and anything else people think of, just email me, that's legit, you know. Nothing stops us from doing that, so, yeah. Okay. Maybe it's better than we think, but we'll see. And we could put it on the next agenda, actually.
Wait, doesn't the Brown Act prevent us from like? Wait, no, it prevents us from like. Wait, it prevents us from like emailing each other. But then if we all just email you, is that okay?
No, actually,
I was wondering about that.
right?
If anyone's having issues or know anything about people having issues with the survey, please feel free to email me. I'll take it up with staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so he's not a member of this body, so, you know, we can do that.
Wait, are we the only ones like us, the only ones that get the emails from the Rise email?
That's right.
Well, plus John,
Plus me, and yeah.
Oh,
and maybe another staff person or somebody, just in case he's on vacation or something. That's pretty typical.
okay. Okay, wait, can we see the work plan again? Thank you.
I just looked through. I was looking because I was trying to figure out the city equity statement that you were talking about, and I saw that there was a mayor's statement on racial equity, but I didn't see anything else that was like
Okay.
specific to an equity statement. I don't know. I
So-
really scoured.
I did find it. I didn't want to butt into the conversation.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
cool,
great.
cool.
I thought I saw it somewhere, I just,
Oops. So it's on that same page here. And then under Sanctuary City, there's the City Council Statement on Diversity and Inclusion.
can you give us a minute to read it?
Certainly.
It's under Sanctuary City, okay. We the members of.
Okay, so based on that, does anybody want to, I guess what would be the thing, the initiative? Would it just be to update this statement? Would it be to make it more prominent?
I mean, that statement is really, really about, you know, it's connected to sanctuary, the idea of sanctuary, right? And if people, I mean, something like that could maybe be part of an equity statement, but I don't think that's an overall city equity statement. It's more like, I don't know. I don't know what, you know, I'm the old white guy here. What do other people think?
I mean, that's the point. That's what I'm saying. Like, make it more prominent in the sense that, okay, first of all, it's buried.
Yeah.
Nobody can
Yes.
find it. And then it's from 2016. It's attached to this idea of being a sanctuary city, which I think is important and, you know, valuable. But I think if we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it should be separate. It needs to be updated because, again, that's 2016. So is that what we're doing? Are we just taking this and then updating it and then reviewing it as a body or something like that? Because that's more
we could.
like, that's more within reach, because I feel like it sounded like, I don't know, because I remember Cho is not here, and Rios is not on the commission anymore. But I thought that what they were trying to work on and draft was much more longer form. That's doable. That's like, it's short. If like that's what we're essentially like trying to go for, then I understand like that we could probably do that as a body, but like what are we actually going for?
I don't think a city equity statement needs to be a 10-page thing. I think 2-3 paragraphs, you know, providing guidance to council and to the community about and to help hold ourselves accountable. And I think that'd be a great starting point. And then other cities have equity statements. That could be a starting point too. You know. So I really agree with what you said, using this as a starting point, making it more permanent, updating it, like that could be a way to get this done. And having it be prominent, for Pete's sake. Mm-hmm. I mean, this was impressively found, John, but that's bothersome that you know, it took some skill to find it. So, yeah, I think so. I think what you said is right on.
Whoa,
Oh.
where was it?
Where was it? Okay.
Only the April 26th newsletter? Oh.
I have this on. The little, you know, header says Albany Racial Equity Survey, but the big picture says, do you live, work, or shop in Albany? Do you have a child that goes to school in Albany? And then when you read the very small fine print, it says, we want to share your experience with racial equity in Albany. So, really? That didn't make me think of a racial equity survey. I'm like, yeah, my kid, we live here, and my kid goes here. That's nice. I don't have time for a survey. Now that I look, I'm like, oh, that's the survey.
So there's some graphic design issues.
It's just not very well. I actually read the newsletter,
Right.
so to have read it and not even realize that's what it was.
And you're on the commission.
Yeah, yeah. It's just not very clear. Like, it says it, but it's not very clear.
Okay.
They should change their little graphic for sure and say racial equity survey,
Right.
big letters.
Right.
Okay.
Let's send that feedback to John.
Yes.
Okay. So for the equity statement, we want to update, what I'm getting is that we want to like update this one into becoming the new Albany one. Okay.
So do we want to keep this on our work plan then?
Sure.
Yeah.
Does this involve us putting it so it's not buried?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, that can be, and has to be part of the recommendation.
It's like, we love diversity, but you have to find it first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far, we're dropping the first two and we're keeping the second two. Is that right? Is that where we're at?
No, the
No, we're-
first
we're
one
not
is being
dropping.
kept, yeah.
Pardon?
The first one is being kept.
Because they
Oh,
haven't
right.
gotten the results yet.
Right. We're dropping the second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we see the work plan item? Oh, yeah, yeah.
So while he pulls up the work plan, since we saying, okay, for the fourth item, the city equity statement, we're going to update it and make it more prominent, do we need to then, what's the word? Do we need to create a subcommission for that? Or do we need people to be shifted onto the subcommittee because we lost a member? How do we deal with that now or later on? That was many questions, sorry.
So I think, since we're talking about the work plan, that we could appoint a subcommittee, and that would be defensible under Brown. But what do you think, John?
No, you'd have to agendize forming any subcommittees tonight, or for a later meeting, I mean.
Review Racial Inclusivity and Social Equity Commission work plan and identify work plan updates. All right.
But I guess to that, since we're in this item 6, and when within item 6, subcommittee updates, can we potentially within the update do it there, or still no?
Identify possible work plan updates.
For the subcommittee update, oh, no, because I see what you're saying. The subcommittee update that's listed is the read-along. It's for existing subcommittees. So you have the read-along program subcommittee listed there. It's not for the open opportunity to form new subcommittees on the commission.
I guess my thought might not new subcommittees, because we already have a subcommittee, but the person, one of the people who was doing it is no longer a member, and then one of the other people is not here today. And so within that category of, okay, we have subcommittee updates, and if there's anything available, can we just say, hey, we're going to slot somebody else into this subcommittee to help with moving this project along?
It's an existing subcommittee. It's not a new
Yeah.
subcommittee.
Didn't we get rid of this subcommittee like the last meeting? That's-
I think, I'm sorry, did you say did we? Did you say?
I thought we did.
Oh, okay.
Let me look at the minutes.
'Cause I don't know, I wrote it down, but I don't know, it could be wrong.
Okay, if you wrote it down, you're probably right. I don't remember.
Oh, the only remaining subcommittee is the read-along subcommittee.
Okay,
All others were sunsetted at the previous meeting.
okay, got it.
Well, wait a second. The minutes say that the citywide racial equity survey and read along, oh, they provided updates. Subcommittee updates for 6.3 were, there was a city equity statement subcommittee. Oh, I see, here it is. Item 6.4, moved by Member Trinkle and seconded by Member Ochi to dissolve the citywide racial equity survey subcommittee, and moved by OG, seconded by Fain to dissolve the city equity statement subcommittee. So it is not an existing subcommittee.
Okay.
So can you just make a note to agendize that on the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Formation of subcommittees or something.
yeah.
Oh, and regarding the read-along subcommittee, there's already 3 members on that subcommittee, so there can't be any others added to it.
No, not for that one, just for the racial city equity statement, sorry.
Oh.
The question was only for the subcommittee that previously only had one person on it. And that was the city equity statement subcommittee, the people who are drafting that, not the read along.
Okay, I think I understand. You would need to reform the subcommittee since it's been you.
Okay, okay. So for that one, we keep it, and then we just make a subcommittee next meeting.
Yeah, and you could have an agenda item, I think, that says formation of subcommittees, formation, you know, and
Yeah, I'm
if
in.
you can work with John about the wording of it so that we can do all of them the next meeting.
Yeah, so just,
Alright.
okay, cool, yeah, okay. So the next one is explore the viability and possible benefit of the creation of a city racial equity office or the officer, which we did.
Right.
So
So we completed that one, so it doesn't seem like we need that subcommittee. It does need somebody unofficially to follow up, you know, and see when it's going to get agendized and things like that.
I mean, would that be,
Part of the new committee that we're
No,
I mean, I guess my thought is, would that be with staff? Who checks in on the, because it does feel like we submitted that and then we haven't had anything back from city council. And yeah, it would be nice to have an update from them if they were going to put it on an agenda or not.
It has been brought to staff's attention, but what I know is that council has a very packed schedule up through September. The end of the financial year and it's election year, there's a number of ballot measures going through council right now.
Is that something that was made clear beforehand in the sense that I thought that the reason we did it at the time that we did it and as quickly as we did it is so that we could get onto the next or the next meeting after the next one, right? It's like onto their agenda. And so I guess my question is like, where's the transparency in terms of when we submitted it and when it gets onto city councils?
As far as the question of transparency, I'd have to look into that specifically. I'm not sure that I can, basically they kind of prioritize on their council meetings as they go. So if something's submitted, regardless of when it's submitted, is not a guarantee to go on the next or the next after. They kind of prioritize based on the present current items.
Okay.
can I speak to that? So it actually can be astonishingly frustrating sometimes. You could be a member of the council, like a sitting council member, and request something to get on agenda, and it might never get on. The thing is just that so many people, like I'm the president of the Alameda County Elections Commission, and I keep a semi-public list for transparency. This is, I don't know of any council that does this or anybody else that does it, but of requests for agenda items. We meet 2.5 hours a month, and we have 47 requests. Right? You know, it's just like, so, and the way it's usually done is just like for this body, it's the chair along with staff, so that's Charlotte and John are going to sit together and make the agenda. For the council, it's going to be the mayor and the city manager who are going to typically take the lead on the agendas. It's not very transparent. They sit there and they look at a very long list and try to figure out, you know, the best possible agenda that they can get. So it does help if somebody is talking to council members or you know, and trying to push it along a little bit. But it sounds like October is going to be the earliest they're going to look at it. You know, if we get it on October, that might be a victory.
In terms of being able to reach out to people,
Yeah.
can we then coordinate who can do that? Because I feel like I know I have like one person I know on the council.
Right.
And so my thought is that if it is the squeaky wheel gets the grease, then can we, like, whoever you know, try and reach out and just be like, hey, this is something that's really important to us. Can we please push this forward?
We can't do that. Some city council members don't like it. Sometimes staff doesn't like it, but I find it to be necessary. If there's something you care about, then you know somebody on the council, or you have a relationship with somebody on staff, then seeing if you can just check in with them on that. And people have a lot of priorities, and council members and staff are hammered on why aren't you doing my priority? And they you know, so just with that sort of understanding for the position they're in, just chatting with them about it and saying this is important and here's why and making your case. I think that's totally ethical. I think it's a totally reasonable thing to do, whether you're on a commission or not. So yes. It's actually a nice idea to just regularly report to whoever appointed you about what's happening with the commission, and in that you can, chat with them a little bit, so.
Okay. So, what did we decide on this?
I think,
Item?
I think we remove it from the work plan.
Yeah, it's complete. I
Yeah.
guess maybe the distinction is that we are marking it as complete versus, because we are striking some things. So there's one item that's going to be struck, and this one is just being marked as complete.
Well, we would drop it from our work plan,
Okay.
I think. Or would we keep it on the work plan and mark it complete? Usually you drop it from your work plan. The work plan is stuff you're working on, but I don't know.
You'd be drafting or amending the existing work plan, so you'd make a motion to present the new amended work plan to council.
That's what we'll do at the end of when we get done with what we want to drop and what we want to keep. So if you're keeping notes for our report, we should definitely, we did this. We completed it. From our point of view, our job is to advise to council. From a community, from an equity point of view, we unofficially want to follow up on it to push that it actually happens. But if we did that as a commission, if as a commission we said to council, why haven't you acted on this? They'd probably be pissed off. We sent them our recommendation. We've done our job on it. As a commission, if we took a vote, and said, council, you need to move on this, they probably would be annoyed.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and this has. I know that you're the messenger in this situation. The thing that is frustrating is if we as a commission are putting in a certain amount of work to draft work plan items, to think through these ideas, to give recommendations, it does feel like, again, not that you have to do it, it's just that I would want to at least have transparency into how this didn't end up on agenda at any point in time. That's all I would need to know, because then it doesn't necessarily give incentive to continuously then do that work and then not have anything come of it.
Yeah, it's one of the more things that can be frustrating being on a commission, and it's actually why cities now have work plans approved, because commissions used to, before they did this, commissions would get an idea, they would spend a lot of time on it, they'd send it to council, and the council would go, no thanks. And then people would be furious, right? So now they at least said that they're interested in these items, that we could work on them, that they have some level of interest.
So can we, even though it'll make them mad, can we do that?
You could do that. It would need to be agendized for the next meeting.
Okay.
I vote for that.
Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. But not if it's not on our work plan. We can only do stuff that's on our work plan. So then we would keep it on our work plan so that we could address it. We can only do stuff that's on our work plan. Right? But we could mark it as completed.
Oh.
What your idea, right? Keep it there, but mark it as we've completed it, but we're waiting on council or something. Yep. Maybe if we word it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to make them mad, but I would like to know.
What's the plan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't you attend a meeting and ask them in person?
Absolutely. Going in public comment and politely saying, we're just wondering what's happening with this item.
Yeah.
They usually will not respond because it's not an agendized item, but a council member could refer it to staff for the staff to follow up, or a staff person might just follow up. The way I've done it, honestly, is sort of background stuff, phone calls, emails to people. kind of lobbying, if you will. But, you know, it's an interesting idea to do it here, right? Just, you know, how we word it is important. So, yeah, can be a rough thing on a commission. I've been on many commissions that have suggested things to city council that city council was not interested in. I think they are interested in this, it's just they have other urgent business, and they have a budget shortfall. So they may be feeling like we can't spend any money and we've got this other super, super urgent stuff we got to take care of. So it hasn't made it on yet. Yeah.
I mean, 100%. I think that mainly just wanting feedback, so that, like, you know, okay, maybe it was this specific thing is an issue. Maybe change that and then it'll work, or like something else. Because I've just been waiting on feedback to figure out what to do next.
Yeah, it's like there's no feedback. Yeah, you have to ask. It's just the way it is. I don't know, you know. There's no feedback, you just have to ask.
You have to ask at their meetings, you have to send them emails.
You have to call. You know. We could ask John, and John could ask the city manager, right? But he's already given us feedback, which is that they're really booked until September. Now, these council meetings, they can last hours and hours and hours, and multiple times a month they meet. It's just astonishing how much work it is and how many things they have to deal with. So it is frustrating, but it's just kind of part of the process. I think it took us 2.5, 3 years to get the survey going. I'm a patient guy, but I was beginning to get a little.
Couldn't find?
What's that?
The one that I couldn't find?
The one that you couldn't find. Yeah. You know. Anyway, how are we doing on this thing? So we're going to keep number 5?
Yeah. What, wait.
Marked as complete.
Yeah, it's just completed, but I guess we keep it.
Completed, but then there's a request to agendize it for follow-up at the next
Yeah.
meeting. As a group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then the last one is research options for a read-along program for community members of all ages to participate.
So that one is, we're gonna go over it now.
Okay, so should we move to 6.2? Okay, let's just move to 6.2.
Wait.
Wait, what?
Oh, I see.
Because it's the,
Well, if we close this agenda item,
oh wait, then we can't make edits to the work plan.
yeah, I mean, we could pause 6.1, go to 6.2 and come back to it, but we're not done.
Oh.
We haven't finished number 6, and we haven't finished 6.1, which is have a motion to amend the work plan,
Okay, well, so then can we pause 6.1, go to 6.2?
and then come back to it?
Yeah.
I believe according to Robert's rules, you can do that. John?
I'm not certain on that, to be honest.
Well, let's just do it. If we don't know, it's,
Okay, well, okay, let's just pause 6.1 and let's go to 6.2, which is subcommittee updates, which from the read-along program subcommittee.
So, Jonathan, I sent you the PDF of the recommendation memo. Do you mind pulling that up?
One moment. You're okay to pause items. Sorry.
Okay, so I figured we could just do it like last time.
Could you zoom in, please?
Sorry. So yeah, I figured we could do it like last time, and I would just read through. And this one is shorter than last time, so Hopefully it doesn't take too much time. So the recommendation is that the Rice Commission recommends the City Council allocate funds towards acquiring a set of books for a public read-along program focusing on narratives from minority-based, marginalized, and disenfranchised communities. It's imperative to prioritize diversity in literature to broaden perspectives and foster empathy within our predominantly white and affluent community. By amplifying voices traditionally underrepresented, we cultivate understanding, empathy, and more inclusive community fabric. Through this program, we can bridge divides, empower voices, and promote a culture of inclusivity, enriching the lives of our residents while fostering a deeper appreciation for the diverse tapestry of human experiences. So that's what I came up with for the recommendation. If anybody wants to add anything or change anything, I'm happy to make changes now as we go. Yes, that would be easier for me to kind of stop after each section rather.
I think it's very well written.
Thank you.
I agree.
Okay, so for background, one of the most common reasons for ignorance on these topics is simply not knowing where or how to seek out information. By lowering the barrier to entry through this read-along program, we aim to address the issue directly. We want to ensure that individuals can easily access transformative narratives and educational materials without feeling overwhelmed or uncertain about where to begin. So my thought is that like this program you can provide a book list, you can, which I feel like sometimes this is something that people have asked me, like, oh, you know so much about this, can you like give me resources of where to begin? And so that's something that could be like built into a program like this, where you're like, okay, these are the books we're reading, these are the authors, these are the ideas they're thinking about. And it just kind of like creates that kind of like, what is the word? It starts with a C, a curriculum of like, if you're thinking about diversity, equity, inclusion, like these are the resources that we've amassed, and you can have a place to start, and then also just making that widely accessible. And so the background, I used that space to kind of just clarify the, why is this program something that would be necessary? That like try and expound on that question. Anybody have any
Sounds
edits?
good to me.
Feedback?
Is this all of it?
Yeah, that's the whole background. And I really tried to keep it short, back to the point of like, I wasn't sure how much work I wanted to put into drafting this, because we haven't gotten back feedback from the other one. So my thought was that I'll just kind of provide at least a paragraph, a few sentences for each section, and then amend it or change it if we needed to.
Should we specify on like the audience and how much money we want? Because like children's books are typically cheaper than.
So at the bottom in financial, what is it called? Financial considerations, I put like a range, and that was just based on thinking like, okay, what is an expensive book from my perspective? And so I was thinking, okay, if every book is $20 and we have 10 participants, then it's like maybe $200, $250. And then if you're doing one book every 6 months, kind of, if you're kind of breaking the year up into 2 sections and do reading slowly through one book, slowly through another book, then that would be, the cost would be about $500 for books that are worth $20. And the books are not usually always $20, right? So it's like, my assumption is that's an overestimation. And then the program would be done based on volunteers. Obviously, like, I'm really interested in this, and I would want to be a volunteer in terms of being able to like participate in running such a program. So
really, I feel the only cost would be the book acquisition. And my goal would be to, or rather, like the goal would be to target high school students and above. Yeah, I think that anything else is kind of, it's a little bit difficult to mobilize, and even high school students, sometimes I'm like, maybe that's a little bit harder because you're in school, and there's just a lot to work around there, but I feel like it might be useful to include that demographic as well. But again, I didn't know how much to put into the plan because I didn't want to spend too much time outlining all of these like specific details before I knew that it was something that we would actually get pushed onto the agenda.
I have a thought. I'm not
Yeah.
sure where it would go on here, but I really wish this program could work because it's amazing. If it's a money issue, is there a way to, I was just thinking about this now, doesn't cost any money to have a website. Typically, you can have those or have like a Google site type thing. And then, I mean, I have like 14 library cards so that I could have access to a variety of books. Maybe if libraries could work that way and say, hey, we have 7 copies of this book. So-and-so has a library card at this book. At this place, like we can get it to them, and then it could be ebook or audiobook or a physical book, but that takes away the excuse of we don't have money because it's from the library. Not that they will have all the books, because if they're new, they're not going to have them.
Yeah, that's okay. This is the issue that I even run into as a parent, because there's a lot of, there's tons and tons of books that you can go to the library and check out, sure. But the issue that I had is that trying to get books that talked specifically about hair or skin color and all these different things, like these are books that are fairly recent, like even as it relates to like LGBTQ inclusivity, like all of that stuff, like I've seen, but then these are newer books that people are, writing and publishing now.
True.
And so then I feel like I've bought certain books that I felt was super necessary, and I've tried to like get libraries to send over certain books, like, oh, they have it over there in another Alameda County Library, and I'll get it brought to Albany. But it's actually quite difficult to find books if you are interested in these ideas or occupy space within these groups. And so my thought was that if we have funding to purchase these books, then if nobody reads them, right? If we bought 5 copies and 3 people came and took those 2 copies can just be like reappropriated into the library, and then the next person who needs it in Albany just gets it from the library, rather than having to do like the mental the maths of like, okay, if I want to get this book, I'm 18th in line for the one that's in Hayward. It's like it's kind of ridiculous. Yes.
So is what you're proposing is that the city fund, so if the city was to, let's say that there's a list of 20 books that are recommended, that the city would buy 5 of each of them,
No.
something, and give it to the library?
No.
I'm confused about how this would work.
So it would be, the program is, we're selecting 2 books a year.
Okay?
And of those 2 books, we'll buy a certain amount of copies.
Okay? Like,
And so my thought was like conservative 5, being extravagant 10. So if you buy 5 to 10 copies of a book, then you can say, hey, we are having this book reading. If you show up, the materials will be provided. And if you already have the book, great, whatever. Or like if we can do the library nonsense of like trying to get books from here and there, then we can have people come into the space and read the books. And if we have any surplus, then those books would just go to the library.
Okay, so it would be a once-a-month event, once every 2 weeks, something like that?
That's okay. So I think that like that's kind of what I was thinking, because if we are doing 6 months for one book,
Yep.
then it would probably map out to be once a month. And I think that that is easier for people to like metabolize into their schedules.
Is it like a book club where everybody reads 2 chapters or whatever,
And then
they come and discuss it?
And then you come and discuss it, but
Or is it a thing where you go there and somebody's like reading out loud?
no, not reading out loud, right? So you read the chapters, and that's why like a bigger span between each meeting.
Okay.
And then you come in and you have a discussion about it, and maybe specific themes are highlighted, anything that you noticed, anything you want to talk about, that kind of vibe.
Okay, so this would be like a City of Albany sponsored book club.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, got it.
Wait, is like the thing about like buying 2 books, I mean, not buying 2 books, like having 2 books per year in there?
Oh yeah, so it's, oh wait.
I think we like saw, we saw like the main thing and then the background, and then I think we saw sustainability considerations or discussion.
We might want to just say in the recommendation or something,
Yeah.
that we're proposing a City of Albany book club to meet, once a month, and the city would be funding it. The city probably has a budget of something like $25 million. $500 is nothing.
I mean, but that's the thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
my point is like, just pass this, please.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I understand. So what would happen, what they would probably be concerned about is staff time. Like, 'cause staff is usually pretty strapped, like they have a million things to do and not enough time, and they get a little crabby about something new getting added on. So if there was they can't get done their current work list and somebody's adding something onto their work list, right? So it's the staff time that would be possibly pricey. It could be, if it was volunteer run, but promoted by the city, maybe that would work, and it could be maybe, a city staffer would be coordinating the volunteers, but that would be it, something like that. That might work. But I think we need to at least let them know what you're thinking, in the recommendation, like, without maybe all the details or something.
Yeah, sorry, I just realized that I sent Jonathan the copy that didn't have, in the potential budget section, I had said $250 to $500 per year, and then I said this is based on a half-year schedule, i.e. working through a book for 6 months with roughly 10 participants.
Uh-huh.
So that note isn't in there. I apologize, I sent the wrong one to Jonathan.
I feel like adding it in like the main like recommendation section would be like a bit helpful, because to like visualize what like the idea really is.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think we should also mention how this is different from the Albany Reads, because they do a similar thing where it's the book every 6 months. I feel like we have to make that very clear, like this is specifically on diversity and cultural literacy. Or they'll think it's the same thing, we're doing this twice.
So the Albany Reads one is not DEI focused?
Not that I'm aware
But the
of.
most recent book is focused on.
Right. The most recent one is, but not always.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you're 100% right. We should put somewhere in there
Okay.
how it's different from Albany Reads. Can you bring up whatever you're typing?
Whatever I'm typing?
No.
Oh, you can't.
Oh, I can't show my screen, sorry.
Okay.
So we are kind of getting into the murky territory here. So this item is for subcommittee updates. It's not necessary to make amendments or changes to a recommendation. That would have to be separately agendized.
Okay, so what was requested
in the last meeting is similar to what we did with the RISE, the Racial Equity Officer, was that we had an agenda item so that we can review that. So that's I think maybe then it was not communicated correctly, but then that's what I had planned to do for this meeting. That's why we have this.
Jonathan?
Okay.
It does say discussion and possible action.
It does, but the item itself is a subcommittee update to be received from the subcommittee.
In all the other meetings when we've done this, we've taken actions if we wanted to, right? And item 6.2 does not say for discussion only or anything like that. And in item 6, it says discussion and possible action. I think that's pretty clear. We can take actions on these, right?
I mean, I'm not really here to put my foot down on it. If you want to go ahead, I can't really stop you.
Yeah.
We'll just wait, right? Or is it like allowed or not? Let's not do a gray area thing.
It is gray area, but it does say action in item 6. It just does, right? It's right there. Discussion and possible action on matters related to the following items.
I mean, I feel like unless there's more feedback, I feel like I can just take what you've said and edit that and send it and just update it and send it to the group, right? Is that okay? Can we do that? Can I do if I take what everybody has said and update this document, can I send it to everybody without it breaking any Brown Act rules?
No, it would have to be
Just send it to my subcommittee members?
the subcommittee members, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it gets
That's what I
pretty
meant.
dicey because if people respond, then that's a secret meeting,
Okay.
right? You know, it's literally a secret meeting. It's happening out of public eye.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just update it based on what everybody has said, which I think is useful and definitely super helpful. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll send it to the read-along subcommittee.
And then we could agendize it clearly for action,
Yeah.
right? Not so, you guys are the ones that make the agendas, so maybe it shouldn't say subcommittee updates. Maybe it should say something else, or specify that these are action items, yeah.
Read.
So if you're doing this separately on your own, what is the actual action we're doing in the next meeting?
The next meeting would be considering a recommendation to council regarding read-along programs, you know,
So like read along recommendation consideration.
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then that's when we would vote, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you,
That
when,
means-
when I make agendas for commissions and stuff, I usually try to specify on each item if it's for action or discussion.
Okay.
So you don't have, you know, this where we think it's for action, but staff thinks it's for discussion. It's like right there,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
That's okay. That's cool. Okay. So then I guess we'll agendize the consideration for the next meeting.
so we can give feedback, though. I mean, this is a subcommittee update.
Oh.
We can give feedback, which we're doing,
Okay.
right? We just can't take an action on it. We can't recommend something to council.
You do have public comment.
Oh.
Probably a good time to take that.
Okay. We'll take it.
Hello, you hearing me?
Yes?
Yes.
Signe Matson again. I'm not sure about how you're intending to select the books, and I'm wondering if the people who are going to do the reading, how do we get suggestions from the, quote, marginalized, unquote, community about books? so that, you know, the target population gets to put input on what people should be reading. That's just my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, whether we put that in the recommendation or not, I don't know. Maybe there's a recommendation about where do we get the list from, or maybe that's left out, and that's something council and staff and volunteers would figure out at the time. I don't know what other people think. I don't think when a commission sends something to council, it doesn't have to dot every I and cross every T, right? Because we're not making legislation, we're sending advice to council about, you know, something that we think should be done. They write the ordinance, right?
I think it was a good question that she had.
Yeah, I think it's a
There
great
could be
question.
Some sort of suggestion, something somewhere, but I'm trying to remember everything she said. I mean, marginalized people will be picking the books.
Okay.
So that helps. If that helps, I don't know if that answers your question, but some sort of suggestion, something that people can put on the side for future recommendations.
Yeah.
Can't really hurt.
I mean, there's a lot of resources as well online that really speak to people who've already done this work
Right.
and have said, okay, if you're looking for a book about this, like read this author, and they, have whatever accolades and they've studied here or whatever, if that is something that truly matters. And that's essentially how I have collated the list of books that I've read that have helped me, process my own experience in the U.S. And so it's like those are the resources that I would lean on. If thinking about, what book should we think about for, like, if we're talking about the LGBT experience, or what book should we lean on if we're talking about the immigrant experience. These are things, I mean, again, I feel like when you're in the experience, you kind of, you might have a much closer relationship to it. So I have things off the top of my head that I can say, like, these are books I know about that are really accurate and are really good. And also there's people who are literally just like, this is their job. They bring together, like, put together resources so that people can understand these issues. And that's what I was gonna go for.
You could try to address that somehow in the recommendation brought next month, right? That, if you could list a couple of those resources or professionals, or put something in like what you said, that, I was in such a book group, actually, a DEI book group, and just the leader picked the book and said, here's what we're reading. I'm like, okay, but the devil's in the details. So, I think a broader statement about what we want without worrying too much about the specific thing, because they will take care of that if they move forward with it, right? But I think an Albany DEI book club, although DEI is becoming like triggering people, the term. It's really unfortunate. It's like you can't say anything, it gets triggered. But whatever we call it,
I'm sorry, what?
I'm saying having an Albany, I'm not sure what the words are you put in there, but an Albany blank book club is, I think it's a really cool idea. I don't think it would cost very much money, especially as a volunteer run.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good idea. And if you have 25 people who read a book or whatever, because I could see a lot more than 5 or 10 people coming, but and are talking about it, they're going to spread that to other people, right? And it can be in the newsletter. We read this book and we recommend it to people, and then 2,000 people are getting that newsletter or something. So I think it's a great idea. It's just, it just needs a little fleshing out about, what you were thinking, because that wasn't clear.
Earlier it was said that like the staff would have to like coordinate volunteers or something. Why can't we coordinate volunteers? I don't know, I'm just confused.
You mean as a commission?
Yeah.
Because we don't have, I mean, so, yeah, I guess if somebody here was going to volunteer to run the program, they could submit that option to the council or to the staff person that's running it or something like that. But commissions don't run programs.
Right, but like,
Yeah.
could we volunteer to coordinate volunteers? Because then if we
Yeah.
put that on the proposal, then would staff be like more likely to want it? Because
So that would be more like a group forming, a community group forming, and you could do amazing things like this. A community group forms to run this, and then we recommend that they fund the community group and promote them.
It sounds like more money.
Like what?
It sounds like more money.
Can't the subcommittee do that? Like, help find the volunteers, just since they're running the.
So, but what I'm saying is, yes, but I mean, there's nothing that stops you and me from getting together and starting this program. We could just do that tomorrow, right? What we would be asking, so you don't need to like make a recommendation to council if you're just gonna do something. So what is it we're asking them to do? We're asking them, we say, we have this group, or this group exists in the community, and we're suggesting that you fund it at a very small amount. They do small funding on the consent calendar, like for, $5,000 or $3,000 or something for a festival. That's just on the consent calendar. They don't even bother spending any time on it, right? That's small stuff. So, and then ask that it be promoted, on the city website and the city newsletter, something like that. That could be the request. Yeah, but there's nothing that stops us from doing it just as volunteers ourselves. It's just, that doesn't usually go to the city, you just do it,
that's true.
But yeah, that could be part of it. It could be that the commissioners you could say somewhere in there, the commissioners, RISE Commission is interested in volunteering to make this happen or something. If the city can do its part, we'll do our part.
Okay.
Sometimes people get a lot of stuff done, they just say, we're gonna make this happen, and they make it happen, like the whole sports group you did. You didn't do that through a commission, you just did it.
Oh, the presentation?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That didn't happen through this commission or any other commission, you just made it happen. So you could do a whole lot of stuff just making it happen.
Yeah, okay. Okay, do we have any more thoughts about 6.2?
Did we finish giving you the feedback you wanted?
I mean, if we're allowed to keep reading through it, I would want to just read through it till the end, and then.
Let's go.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to edit it, we can just read it.
Yeah.
And we give feedback, and
Yeah, that's not,
then she's gonna edit it before the next meeting, I guess.
Okay, the pros. Community engagement, community engagement encourages community members to actively engage with topics related to social justice and equity, fostering dialogue and awareness. Cultural enrichment enriches cultural literacy by showcasing the rich tapestry of human experiences and histories beyond dominant narratives. Equity promotion supports efforts to create a more equitable society by ensuring that everyone has access to transformative information and resources. And educational access provides free access to literature and resources on marginalized experiences, addressing gaps in knowledge and understanding. So those are the pros. If you want me to add anything or remove anything, please let me know. And then the cons, limited participation. There may be challenges in engaging certain segments of the community, particularly those resistant to exploring unfamiliar or uncomfortable topics. And then resource allocation, allocating funds towards acquiring books and organizing the program will require resources which may be hard to mobilize. Really, I just added cons because I feel like if I didn't add cons, it would be too biased. So
Which one?
the cons, because I guess my thought is that like I have counters to my cons, but they say to provide a pro and con analysis. So I provided a pro and con analysis, but as it relates to limited participation and resource allocation, I feel like with resource allocation, I'm really not asking for much as it relates to like the actual cost of books, and especially with the idea of like having volunteers be a part of it. And then the limited participation is just like, trying to get the word out. And that would be my counter to that, is really trying to get the word out, like reach out to people that I know. I mean, I know quite a few people who live here already who would be interested in doing this. So
Sometimes you can put underneath a con, like in italics, you can say mitigation, how you can mitigate that problem.
that's a good point.
And so that's legit. I think those are good, good cons. I mean, that number one's just real. And number two, you might just be asking the city for, to provide space and publicize it and, a couple $1,000 or something, right? A year. And that's all pretty doable, especially if there was no staff impact or a very minor staff impact, right?
Okay, I'll add the piece about mitigation. That's a good suggestion. And then sustainability considerations. So sustainability is key to ensuring the long-term impact and success of the program. To address this, we propose establishing partnerships with Albany High School, Albany Library, and any other willing community organizations to share resources, expand outreach, and pool expertise. By integrating the program into existing educational cultural initiatives, we can ensure ongoing engagement and support. Additionally, leveraging digital platforms for distribution discussion can broaden accessibility and adaptability to changing community needs. So with the Albany High School, the library, and any other willing organization piece, I thought that, if anybody was willing to donate books, if anybody already had the books available, or if there was any way that we can essentially just like share in the burden of making the program work, that's why I included that. And then the piece about the, what is it called, digital platforms. So my thought is that also if this is something that can be like distilled into social media somehow, you could also like broaden that reach and say like, hey, look, you paid for these books, and now we have like an official, I don't know, like Albany Books Instagram or something like that where we like talk about it. Maybe like the people who volunteer to run the programs can succinctly say, okay, this is what we talked about this month, and just put it on social media, kind of thing. And that's a way that you can make it widely accessible. And it doesn't only impact the people who are in the room. And so I wanted to offer that up as well as a sustainability consideration, because mainly just trying to stretch the dollar as much as possible if they do choose to like fund the program and buy the books, and just like make it so that, okay, this is impacting way beyond just the people who show up to the physical location.
Because you're going to take after if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that the 6 months ends, 25 people come, they participate in this thing, and then you take those books and you donate them to various libraries and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that's sustainability, right? You're not throwing them into a landfill.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's great.
I mean, so that, and then also that like this, okay, it has to be, workshopped more, or like, whoever signs up as a volunteer would have to be down to do this. But essentially saying like, okay, we're running these workshops, and you can say after the end of a workshop, somebody can literally just sit in front of a camera and say, this is what we talked about. Like, this is the book we're covering for this 6 months. And in today's meeting, we talked about these items, and like, these are the things that came up. And that can just be like thrown into the social media machine. And then like, that's also a way that like it can reach people if they're interested, because I think I've brought this up before, where it's like, does Albany have social media? I'm not sure. Like, that could be something that is useful for. I mean,
Nodded.
you do?
We do.
Okay, cool. So it's like then, like maybe that's something that we can ask and say, hey, can you promote the fact that we're doing this, and like we've made these videos, can you post this on your social media? Can we be linked to like an official page or like something like that, where I think that's a way that Albany can really show that not only is it like investing in like D&I initiatives, it can also show that it's kind of like proud of the work that's being done, and it can be furthered that way. So that was the point about the digital platforms at the end, the last two lines. The last line rather. Additionally, leveraging digital platforms for distribution and discussion can broaden accessibility and adaptability to changing community needs.
John, can you please scroll down?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I think this looks really solid. Yeah.
But budget looks low to me, but you said you
Okay.
you just want it to be nothing so that they'll.
I mean, that's like a question, right? Like, okay, I don't know what is within reach, so it's helpful to hear you say that, because initially I had thought, okay, if I put 750 to 1,000, they would, do a jump scare and not want to fund it. So that's why I lowered it. But I don't know, like I'm willing to.
Cities have so much money. It's really astonishing.
but
It's
then
just
the
things
thing-
are very expensive because, you're doing it for a whole city. So this is why they will fund stuff for a couple $1,000, $5,000 on the consent calendar. They don't even debate it.
I mean, sure, but then I guess I feel sort of, I don't know, because for the racial equity officer, it felt like, whoa, that's, that felt like, okay, don't put it to be like a certain amount of money. And then in this situation, I feel like because of that, I said, let me just lower it.
Sure.
So that I don't get any issues like with.
It's fine if you leave it like it is. It's just hiring a staff person. It's painful to go through the process to hire them. That takes a lot of staff time right there. And then you're probably talking by the time you take into account pensions, minimum $150K a year. And it's implied that that person's it's going to be multi-year, right? Here you're talking $1,000 a year out of a probably $25 million budget. You know what I mean? So it's so tiny that it's like it's almost non-existent for a city. So I wouldn't really worry about, I think whether you said 500 or 2,000 is probably the same thing, which is it's close enough to nothing. That's not the issue. The issue for them is going to be, do we want to do this, and what kind of staff impact is it going to be, and is it going to make a difference in the city? That's the stuff they're going to care about. But you could leave it 500. I mean, 500 you could say 500 to 1,000 or something. Might be the thing. We shouldn't spend a lot of time on that. I was just wanted to let you know that the money is not going to be the issue in this case.
Even though we're like over budget or something.
It's so tiny, right? It's like, if you think of like we have maybe, a personal budget in the 5 or 6 figures. So $1,000 means something, but imagine if every year you made $25 million, right? $1,000 is effectively nothing, right? It's just so small. So if they agree that this is going to be useful to the city and it's not going to impact a bunch of staff time, which is a problem financially, but it's also a problem in staff morale and like that, then I think they'll do it, and the money won't be the issue. Will it make a difference in Albany? I think that'll be the issue. And if it's going to be volunteer run and it's only going to cost a couple $1,000 a year or $1,000 a year or something, believe me, the money will not be the issue.
Okay. I am going to add, I'm going to update the cost allocation, and then I'm going to add the mitigations to the con section. And then in the recommendation section, I will include another paragraph that outlines how this is different from Albany Reads, that outlines the structure of the program in terms of 2 books a year, each book gets 6 months. I'll include who is the target audience, and then how many participants I would anticipate, how we're going to select the books, and that's it. That's all the stuff that we said, right? Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. I'll update that then. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so is that all for 6.2? Okay, so we finished that, and then we can unpause 6.1 and go back to that one. Okay, so, well, now we want to keep the read along thing. So we have item 1, we keep item 1, we delete item 2, we keep item 3, but we're done with that. Item 4, we keep, and then we want to create a subcommittee next meeting. And then item 5, keep but complete, and then item 6, keep. That's what I have.
Yeah, and almost complete, we could say something like that.
What is complete? Oh, 6?
Almost complete, you know, agendized for June or something.
Okay.
So we're proposing to amend, we're proposing to council that we want to amend our work plan, that we're really only working, you know, that we want to drop number 2. We want to keep the others, but actually only one of those are we, 1 or 2 of them are we actively working on, right? The city equity statement and the read-along program. The rest of them are completed or they are, yeah, they're on hold. And so we would like to work on some other stuff, right, besides those. Are you doing both of those? You're doing the city equity statement and the read-along program by yourself?
No, there's no one on the city equity statement right now.
No.
Was that?
There's no one on the city equity statement.
Remember, Cho is on the city equity statement.
Oh, that's on the agenda to reform a subcommittee.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the city equity statement and the read-along program are sort of active items on our work plan. That's it, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And we want to, so how many active items do we want to work on at once? And like what, if we want to work on more than 2, then which ones should we ask the city council to add on?
I mean, I think we have 7 members, so that's like 3 subcommittees about. So I feel like we should have at least like 3 active work plan items.
Okay.
We have 3 then?
Well, the survey one is just waiting for them, and then the equity one is like, I feel like we should add at least 1 more. I don't know.
1 more to the work plan?
1 or 2,
1 or
so that, you know, we can, if we complete one of these, then we've got another one we can do.
Right.
You
Oh,
know.
yeah, and the read-along is.
So we're really asking permission from the city council to work on a couple of specific things. That's in reality what we're asking.
Could we,
No, you go.
could we add the esports?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I would.
We can make, sorry, hold on. For an action, we can, the future agenda items, we can make a subcommittee for that.
Well, we have to put on our work plan first.
Yeah,
to
put
get it
that on our
approved
plan.
first, right?
So that can be our 3rd item or 4th?
Yeah, 3rd. Okay. So we would add that to our work plan now, and then
Eventually
then
it'll
hopefully
become.
it'll get approved at some point, and then we'll make a subcommittee for that. Okay, well, that's.
Work plan stuff usually council puts on, somebody will review it to make sure we're not asking for dumb stuff. But usually that's going to be a very quick agenda item, or they'll just put it on the consent calendar.
Right.
So my guess is, John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my guess is they would put that on the next agenda, right? If we request a
I can't
change to the
really-
work plan,
I can't really speak to that. What I can say is it would go to presentation. That's really all I could say onto that. I
you
can't.
mean go to presentation?
A presentation item. So there's consent, presentation, public hearing.
They take an action on a presentation item?
Yes.
Okay. So somebody from here would go and make our case for why we want this, and then most likely, council will say yes. Right? We're not asking for anything weird here, right?
Yeah.
So that will happen within a month before?
Probably.
Okay.
Can't promise it, but probably. Because it's so quick, right? And it's in our work path. Right? We need them to do it so that we can do the work.
Okay.
You know, if we're going to do a fourth one, I don't know, does anybody have anything that's like top of mind?
No.
Then what I was looking at was the racial equity impact plan, right? And the 9 items that were recommended, and there's another sort of set of goals and racial equity goals and equity diversity indicator that we could look at and use. But item number 1, I don't know if these were supposed to be in order or they were not in order. But anyway, item 1 was adopt an equity statement. We're working on that. Item number 2 was complete a minimum of 2 additional listening sessions.
What does that mean?
So after Mr. Floyd was murdered, one of the things that happened was that there were 2 listening sessions held where a large number of people showed up, and primarily folk of color came up and said, here's stuff that has happened to me, right? You know, one got stopped 30 times or something by Albany cops, you know, driving while black. And it was just stuff like that, right? And so these were listening sessions that were sort of a reality gut check for a lot of the community, you know. So the consultants thought that we should do 2 more of those. 3 is the racial equity community survey, that's in process. 4 was revised city mission statements to reflect racial equity. I'm not sure if that's done or not. Number 5 is support launch of an Office of Racial Equity, and right, we just did that. We just asked them for that. Number 6 is provide yearly updates to community on progress towards equity goals. Number 7 is outreach communication, that is having multiple modes, digital access, racial equity, webpage, the stuff you were hitting on, right? That's right. And number 9 is review of police department policies and procedures, but subsequent to that, a police commission was formed. So it seems to me that the ones that we might want to add would be number 2, 4, 6, 7, or 8. The things that I mentioned that aren't on our work plan and haven't been worked on, frankly, since the equity plan came out, which is June of 2021.
What's realistic? Like what, I don't mean realistic like we're gonna do it, like what would be beneficial on that
Listening
list?
section. Wait, what was the other 2? You said
Okay,
listening section?
so complete a minimum of 2 additional listening sessions. So I'm just the ones that we haven't done yet, right? Revise the city mission and vision statements to better reflect racial equity. Number 6 was provide yearly updates to the community on our city's progress towards equity goals. Number 7 would be outreach communication, how to do that better. I think, frankly, the city needs some help there. And number 8, partnerships collaborate with the Albany Unified School District to align racial equity goals. Sorry, I skipped that one somehow.
What was the last one?
The last one that I hadn't read before is this is number 8 on the document. Partnerships collaborate with the Albany Unified School District to align racial equity goals with the city. The city and the school board would collaborate to deliberately and intentionally align racial equity goals.
Which is the read-along program.
that and like, there was an entire school, I don't know if it's still true, but a couple of years ago, there was one of the schools had all white teachers. All of them, 100%. So, it's like, seriously. So, and I don't know if that's still true. I hope it isn't. But anyway, so there's 5 of those, right?
So, what Member Fain said, what is it? Sorry, I've already forgotten. The complete a minimum of 2 additional listening sessions. That to me, I feel like would be useful because don't we all have a story? I mean, in terms of just like being in this space and like what it's actually like to live in Albany. And I think that that's something that doesn't, like, people's stories don't always get told in that sense because sometimes there can be hostility just like in reception of like you telling a story, something that happened to you. So I think that can be really useful. And then I would say that in terms of, what we just talked about with the diversity and I don't know what they titled it, diversity and inclusivity statement that's kind of buried in the sanctuary city thing. My thought is that if we're talking about like outreach communications and how to streamline that and how to make that more prominent, is it possible to have a landing page for that specifically? So have a page that's on the Albany City website that is specific to that and has all of the things that we need, right? Like, you can expect to find the survey that people are having a hard time finding on that page, or you can expect to find like a very clear statement that, says that's approved by the city council on that page kind of thing. And maybe figuring out if that's something that we could work towards, where there's like a dedicated landing page if it doesn't already exist. Or if it already exists, then trying to like say, hey, like, is it possible that we can shift things around and make it like more streamlined?
So the 2 that resonated with you would be the listening sessions one and the outreach communications one?
Yeah.
I think those are both great.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think adding both could be good because then we can work on them after we finish the other ones.
Okay, so then we would make a motion to remove the housing element item from our work plan, and that we'd like to add 3 more in, and whoever goes, it's often the chair, whoever goes and presents to council would explain that only 2 of these are actually active items, right? So we're not asking to work on too much. And then we would add in item 2 from the racial equity plan, which is complete a minimum of 2 additional listening sessions. I actually think that the data from that needs to be compiled and published, not just said once and then forgotten. So if we could word that in some broader way, like complete a minimum of 2 additional complete a minimum of 2 additional listening sessions per the racial equity impact plan, but also to possibly compile it and publish it, like on the city website. But anyway, I don't know if we have to say all that.
That's not going to go over well.
I'm not too sympathetic with that. It's like, it's just, this is reality, right? And then, but you're probably, you may be right.
I'm right.
Yeah. Outreach communication, and then, we'd be assisting the city with outreach and communication with regard to DEI, which is item 7 on the racial equity impact plan, recommendations for next steps. And then the other one was, I'm not sure how to word it. How do we word the esports item?
It's inclusion, so work on inclusion community program.
Social equity.
It would be like a bullet point like that. Research options for inclusive sports programs,
Sure. Go for it.
or something like that.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
Okay,
6-1.
so
This one. 6-1. Okay. Well, it's like past 9 o'clock, so we have to like.
oh
So-
yeah.
Past 9, so we
Okay,
have
it's
to, like, we
9:05.
can't add anything. It's a
What?
Well, we should finish this. We should make a motion to do something now.
We can't discuss another agenda after 9, and we're not.
Well,
no, this is it.
it's future agenda items, then agenda item. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so shall I make a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, so I move that we ask the council to amend our work plan, that we're going to drop number 2, which is the housing element 1, and that we're requesting adding 3 other ones, which you're going to explain to them why we're dropping 1 but adding 3, right? And that would be item 2 from the Racial Equity Impact Plan, complete a minimum of 2 additional listening sessions. And consideration, are you catching this, John?
So you'd want to designate someone to draft the new work plan with amendments and have that person give it to staff. Staff would bring it to city management's attention, and then for it to be agendized. So it's whoever on the commission is taking down the work plan, or whoever you designate to do that.
So, in other words, what you can do is you can give the power, the commission can empower 1 or 2 or 3 people to write up what we want.
It would be one person and/or the chair
Right.
work with staff.
I can do that.
Okay, you and I could do that?
Sure.
Okay. Because I think I can write it up.
Yeah,
And then
okay, I'll
run
present
it by you, but let's just make sure we're all on the same page. So we'd be adding that number 2 from the listening session 1. We'd be adding number 7, the outreach communication 1, and the esports 1. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? And you and I need to, what's the deadline for that to get it dealt with before our next meeting? When do you need it?
Before RISE Commission meeting?
Would it be the council meeting?
So there's a deadline for council.
Right.
Council, and that council meeting, where they'll probably pass it, needs to be before our next RISE Commission meeting so we can do some work.
One moment.
Okay? Council often wants a week or 10 days or something before their meeting.
This is our longest meeting, huh?
Yeah. Work plan, the old SEJC, we actually spent 8 months doing the first work plan. It was really painful.
Oh, yeah,
So we've been doing a lot better than that.
that is great.
I'm saying 8 months, maybe it was shorter, but I think it might have been that. Maybe it was 6 months or 5 months, I don't know, but it was
Wow.
shocking. Because they wanted to work on like 50 things,
Oh, okay.
you know?
You will be succinct.
Yeah.
Are we done?
John's looking at the calendar so he can tell us the deadline. I guess he could tell us the deadline date later, and we'll just meet the deadline. Do you have the deadline?
I don't, sorry.
Can you just get it to us later?
Yeah, I can work with the designated staff members.
Yeah, and somebody just tell us what the deadline is, and we'll meet it. Okay, so that's what we want to do to the work plan. So I guess it's to drop the housing element item, to add item 2 and 7 from the Racial Equity Impact Plan, plus the inclusive sports item to our work plan. Commissioner Lindsay, along with the chair, that the commission would be empowering us to write that up and get it to staff. So it can be considered before our next meeting. So that's the motion.
Okay.
For a second.
I second.
Discussion.
Oh, is there any discussion pertaining to this matter?
No.
Okay. We have a vote.
Member Ajwan?
Yes. Yes.
Member Fain?
Yes.
Member Lindsay?
Yes?
Member Oji?
Yes.
Chair Trinkle?
Yes.
And members Cho and Martinez-Moore are absent. The motion carries.
Yay. Okay. Okay, so now we're done with 6-1. Okay, are we, future agenda items, that's the agenda item. Are we allowed to discuss future agenda items? Because it's past 9.
No, it's not to discuss. This is just, if anybody wants to say, please put something on the agenda, which we kind of did during the agenda, but.
I would just recapitulate on the point of making sure that we can vote on the memo next meeting.
Okay, so right now I have make new subcommittees. This is follow up on work plan item racial equity officer. Following up for council. But yeah, anyways. And then the read along recommendation consideration. Yes. Is there anything else that anyone else wants to add? Nope. Okay, great. And the next meeting is going to be Tuesday, June 4th at 7 p.m. And okay, this meeting is adjourned. Yay.
All right.